Welcome back to my channel, guys. Thank you for coming and watching another video. And today I'm gonna have a massive book haul. Maybe not in the amount of books, but these books are pretty massive. So I hope you stay and let's talk books. As promised, I will be doing a book haul today, and I feel like it's an important thing to do as a beginner of my channel, because the people who have subscribed to me, I'm very thankful for your subscriptions, and I feel like you should know my reading taste. The first book I had discussed in my previous chat, so if you want any more information on this book, it's Inadvertent by Karl Knausgard, where he talks about what led him and the tribulations that he went through to become an author. There's very much praised in today's world and an author that I love. The second book is no other than Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon. I'm doing a readathon with the Book Chemist, and I also got it brand new. I was so excited to get this book that when I left the store, I had discovered that it's got some damage on it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely got an indent and some pages are rather rough. But they're all there and it's fine. I just feel like I have to be more conscious of looking at the books I buy rather than the excitement that I have when I know I need to get something. So perhaps you have made similar mistakes when really wanting a book, but we must not let our excitement override our logic. So definitely look at the books before you purchase them. The third new publication that I actually received in the mail is my subscription to, I don't know if you can see that, McSweeneys issue 53, and they always have a theme with their issues. It's a publication of short stories. I believe that it's run by Dave Eggers, where he compiles interesting, usually new fiction in the format of short stories, and it's always good to read short stories because you can look out for new and exciting authors that may be on the horizon. So I'll just open this package in front of you guys, and they sent some balloons. I don't know, I guess it's their thing. Every issue has something that it tries to address, or there's a theme to it, and these balloons look terrific. The issue itself is, let me pull it out. Probably shouldn't do this on camera. I will get it right eventually. Is this? So it's just short stories by, let me read some of the authors in here. C. Pam Zhang, Julia Dixon Evans, Leslie Nika Arima, Naomi Serpel, Jamie Figueroa, and there's 7 short stories that are printed on balloons. So I'm guessing that each balloon has a title of each short stories. So I'm excited. Oop, there it goes. So McSweeneys, they print out a quarterly, which I'm subscribed to. I think it's like $98 for 4 issues, and they come once every season. So more short stories to read, which I love, and it keeps me up to date with what's going on and what's being published. So that's all the new books that I have that I bought. The remainder of the books I picked up at a charity store, which is the Housing Work Store here in New York, and they support and try to fight AIDS and they support 8 victims. Their store is amazing. I wish that I had taken some pictures of it, but you definitely feel like you're in an old library, and their selection is immense. And the best part about them is that they're located in the city, in the village, and they get a ton of books donated to them by very big people and from big libraries. So I'm always on the lookout for something interesting when I go in there. And the first week of every month, on the Saturday and Sunday, they have a 30% discount on everything in the store. So definitely some great prices on books that are terrific and at a good price already. Definitely walk in there any day of the week, but especially on the first weekend of the month. So let's get to the books. I'm going to first start off with 4 beautiful books that I got, but they're all classics, and they were like $7 a book. Well, originally 10, but with a discount they were 7, and I picked up 4 of them. So the first book that I got was 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Look at this cover. It's got gold. See that? Gold edges, I guess. And it's got a little bookmark already in there. And I'll show you. Like that. And then you got Gabriel Garcia Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude. I've been wanting to read this book, and I know it's the rise and fall of a family, and it deals with magical realism, which I have yet to read any of. So this could be a good start to it, and it's definitely prized by many people. I've often been recommended it, so I'm looking forward to eventually sinking my teeth into this. The next book I picked up was Fathers and Sons by Ivan Turgenev, and it's also got gold rims, nice little bookmark, and let's see, this is the edges, although I'm not a big fan of them because they look like they're just some kind of a cloth and they feel very rough. But the good thing about this particular book is it has a lot of drawings. So that's the beginning of the book, and then you got drawings throughout the book, illustrations. So I'm very excited also for this book. I'm also very excited about this book because in the winter I read a non-fiction work on Edward Garnett, who was one of the most prominent reviewers of book and worked for publishing houses and brought many authors to light, such as Joseph Conrad. He also, I believe, had a huge influence on D.H. Lawrence. And to him, Turgenev was the top author that he prized, above Dostoevsky, above Tolstoy, above many of the greats. He valued Turgenev above all of them. So he's a Russian author, which is very important to me because I'm also Russian. The next book that we have is The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann, and I believe Adam at Memento Mori read this book and slogged through it and had very good things about it. So I'll show you the illustrations, and they're a bit different. I think they're done by somebody else. So yeah, Thomas Mann, The Magic Mountain. Let me see if I can get some. They're much more lighter illustrations. I believe that this book has to do with a sanatorium in the Swiss Alps, and it deals with sickness, which should be a microcosm of what's going on in Europe during the time of this novel, and should be a portrayal of the people. Last but not least is The Red and Black by Stendhal. It's a classic that I discovered through reading Proust and I believe he had a lot of acclaim for this author, or this author had been read by him, who he liked. And this is one of the most prominent works by Stendhal, so I'm excited to get into it. Again, illustrations are here as well, made with black and red, which I think is appropriate, hence the title, or hence the illustrations, because the title came before them. So you have things like that. So that's my 4 large chunkers, like $7 a piece. I couldn't go wrong with them, and I want to read all 4 of them. There were many more there. Well, not many more, but there were more there. But even though I don't doubt their greatness. So that's it for the classics. That's it for the new books. And let's move on to other books that I got. So I'll proceed with hardcovers. The first is Moonglow by Michael Chabon, and this has something to do with his grandfather dying, or him being with his grandfather, hearing stories from them, and then using all those stories to write this book. I started reading Michael Chabon only this year. I read the Yiddish Policeman Union, followed by the Telegraph Avenue. I loved the Yiddish Policeman Union. I also really enjoyed the Telegraph Avenue, but I can't say that they were 5 stars reads for me. So, based on the book chemist's recommendation, I'd like to keep going with this author, because I definitely feel like he hits a spot for me where I really enjoy his writing. And he is so witty, and he plays with words so well that every time I have an hour or two when I'm reading him in the comfort of my home, I'm thoroughly enjoying the experience. The final hardcover book that I got was The Pale King by David Foster Wallace. I have not read anything by David Foster Wallace, and it's interesting that the first book that I pick up by him is one that was published posthumously after he died. This book deals with IRS agents and the kind of people that work there and how repetitive the job is. And even though I know nothing about his writing style, I didn't want to start with Infinite Jest, although I feel like that will be a book I will read in my lifetime, as it's one of the sort of epics of our life that everybody refers to. But this book is so beautiful. It's got a nice little plastic encasing around the wrapper, and I think it's a first edition. Here I go messing it up. So I'm excited about this book, and that's it for the hardcovers. So this is the last stack of books I'll talk about today, because I bought way too many books. You have Corrigan by Caroline Blackwood, and it says that it is a modern comedy of manners and a very modern morality play. Since her husband's death, the incredibly frail Mrs. Blunt has had only her trips to the grave to look forward to. Her raucous housekeeper's conversation and cooking are best forgotten. Nadine, her daughter, is an infrequent, uneasy visitor. Then one day, a charming wheelchair-bound Irishman shows up at Mrs. Blunt's door in search of charitable contributions. Corrigan is an arch manipulator. Mrs. Blunt is his mark, and before long we realize they are made for each other. So, interesting premise. And I love NYRB books, so I'm excited to attain more. I would eventually love to have a whole collection of them and a library of them and a bookshelf just devoted to NYRB books, because they are so great. I love the covers. I love their functionality. I don't mind taking them to work. I don't mind beating them up. They somehow are hardy enough to withstand all my abuse and still look beautiful on my shelves. Having said that, they're also great to be bought used, like I do, because they have such a good consistency to them and they withstand a lot of abuse. Next book is All for Nothing, Walter Kempowski, and I believe this deals with the village after or during the Second World War, January 1945. The Germans are in retreat, the Red Army is approaching, and it deals about a house run by a family that meets a lot of interesting characters that pass through it during this tumultuous time. So I'm excited about this book. Boredom is another one by Alberto Moravia, and this is about a artist that is bored with his life, but then he meets Cecilia, a beautiful, unabashedly sexual, strangely impassive teenage model who becomes his mistress, and we'll take it from there. Then we have the final book, The Story of a Moralist by Erich Kastner, and this has to deal with Germany before the war and how hard and unimpressive life was during these times, that it eventually brought it to take such action which would affect millions of people and devastate nations across all of Europe. And the final one is My Marriage by Jakob Wasserman, and this has to do with a young writer who goes to Vienna, another European work, to escape his debts and a failed love affair. There he is, pursued by book-loving Ganna, giddy, girlish, clumsy, eccentric, and wild. Dazzled and unnerved by her devotion to him and attracted to the large dowry offered by her wealthy father, Herzog thinks he can mold Jeanne into what he wants. But no one can control her troubling passions. As their marriage starts to self-destruct, Herzog will discover that he can never escape her. So we have an interesting pretense to a story, and I think I bought too many books because this will be the last one I talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul as much as I enjoyed bringing all these books and having a reason to buy them. And I hope it's a good introduction to my reading tastes. If you have any comments about any of these books, maybe there's a book that I got that I should read immediately, please do comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, because it feels good not only for yourself but also for me. What I'm currently reading is Thomas Pynchon. I've already started reading a bit into it, and I hope to come up with some videos as I move through it, discussing it piece by piece, along with the videos that the Book Chemist puts out. Again, thank you all for watching this video to the end. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and if you're catching this video on the weekend, I hope you're enjoying your weekend.